Hey everyone, congratulations on finishing Module 1 and moving into Module 2. Awesome. Module 2 is all about integers, positive and negative numbers. So let's jump right in with our example 2. Example 2 says counting up and counting down on the number line. When I look at this first bullet point, it says counting up starting at 0 corresponds to blank numbers. I need to fill in that blank. So when they say counting up from 0, counting up, that means we are counting on a horizontal number line to the right of 0. So when I go to our number line, and I go to 0, and I look to our right, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they are all positive numbers. So when we start at 0 and we go to the right, we are looking at positive numbers. Vice versa. The next one says counting down, starting at 0, which means going to the left on a horizontal number line, corresponds to what numbers? Well, when I go to 0 and I go counting down, I notice the same numbers, but instead of them being positive, they are negative numbers. So as you can see, counting up or to the right on a horizontal number line corresponds to positive. Counting to the down from 0 or to the left of 0 corresponds to negative numbers. Now let's answer these questions about our number line here. A says, where do you begin when locating a number on the number line? Well, if I was going to locate a number on the number line, I would always begin right in the middle at 0, right? So whenever we're using a number line, we always start at 0, right? Then if we're talking about a positive number, we go to the right and count up. If we're talking about a negative number, we're counting down and going to the left. But we're always going to start at 0 when using a number line, right? Always starting at 0 right there. The next question says, what do we call the distance between a number and 0 on the number line, right? So if I take a number like positive 7, and I'm looking at the distance between 0 and 7, I'm actually looking at the absolute value. Right? So the absolute value is the distance between a number and 0. The absolute value is always positive, right? Because even when I look at negative 7, if I count the distance it is away from 0, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in distance away. So the absolute value of negative 7 is positive 7 because it is 7 spaces away from 0 on the number line. Last question C says, what is the relationship between 7 and negative 7? Well, let's look at our number line here. I've already located 7 and negative 7. We need to talk about the relationships. Well, one thing I noticed right away is these numbers, if I count from 0, they are the same distance from 0, right? So we could say these numbers are the same distance from 0, so they have the same absolute value. So we'll say that. The numbers have the same distance from 0. So they have the same absolute value. Now, they are the same distance from 0, and they do have the same absolute value, but they're in opposite directions, right? 7 is 7 spaces to the right of 0, while -7 is 7 spaces to the left. Because these are equal distance in opposite directions, we could also say that 7 and -7 are opposites. Are opposites, right? Because they are the same distance from 0, but in opposite directions. So 7 and -7 are opposites. Wonderful. This is just a quick intro into positive and negative numbers and using the number line. On our next video, we'll get into adding and finding sums of multiple integers. All right, go ahead and watch our next video, please.